presented by Memphis Shades, the clear choice for custom windshields and fairings for your motorcycle. And Wild Ass Seats, stay in the saddle longer and in total comfort no matter your butt or budget.
Welcome back to Three Dirty Bikers podcast, everybody.
Uno, dos, tres.
Where members get sick or they trim their fucking internet lines.
This is true. This is true.
It was very true today.
We have Brittany at home with diarrhea. And Tony cut his internet line with a grass trimmer.
Dumbass.
So there you go.
Tony's living in the Stone Age.
We are hella organized this week, let me tell you. You either don't have internet or you're shitting yourself, and that's your excuse for not being here this week.
You know what? I would go with the no internet over shitting myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might too. I hope that teriyaki bowl she ate was worth the diarrhea.
And don't buy food from Drake, dude. I'm telling you, he's a rapper, not a cooker.
That's right. That's right. That's what I hear.
I'm sure houses come with stoves.
Right. So we posed an interesting question to each other, right? And this was if we were to have a different bike, and we've kind of, I think, touched on this a little bit before, but if we were going to add a bike to do, not the bike that we have and not necessarily a Harley, but if we were going to add a different style of riding or a different kind of bike to our stable, what would that be?
Well, I thought the question was, what is your next bike going to be?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes. What's
Okay.
your next bike going to be?
Okay. I got you.
Why? And potentially when, if you have an idea in mind.
Okay.
Little different spin.
Yeah, I can tell you that from my perspective, this last weekend, something happened to me that I never expected to happen, and I think it's changed my future projects in terms of motorcycles, and it may be the next motorcycle that I get.
Did you jack up your balls or something?
I didn't jack up my balls, but I had an opportunity to ride a motorcycle that changed my outlook on some things. I had a very strong opinion about something, and particularly I had a strong opinion about choppers. I thought that choppers were art. I thought they were not very practical. All of these things are still true, but then I rode one. And, at my age, erections like that don't come around every single day.
or last that long.
Exactly.
You gotta work fast.
Exactly. So I can tell you that riding that chopper was a absolutely visceral experience. And the chopper that we speak of is our 1974 Ironhead. Oh, sorry.
75.
I'm sorry. 75. I was corrected. 1975 Ironhead that we had custom built by Jared Weems, and a bunch of our sponsors chipped in and are giving away for the autism raffle. And I had the chance to ride that bike after the reveal last weekend, and it was I rode this bike for 5 minutes, right? Probably 5 minutes total, and it changed my outlook on choppers and the idea of that. And I think that before I'm done with motorcycling, I'm fairly certain I want to build a Sportster chopper.
So you would ditch your Road King for a chopper?
No, you said when we were talking, we were saying next bike, right? That doesn't mean only bike.
That's true.
So I think I wouldn't ditch my Road King for. I think that I will probably hang on to my Road King for a long period of time because, if you take care of your motorcycle, you can redo the top end. You can do a lot of things and put a lot of miles on a bike. And I truly think that I have done so much to set up that bike so it's perfectly in tune to how I like to ride that I don't see a good reason to get rid of it right now. There's no bike out right now that I should just walk into a dealership and get rid of my bike for. And so with that, I thought about what would my next bike be? And I would really like to build a Sportster chopper. It's completely out of my wheelhouse in terms of skill set. And I just think it would be fun to just try to get an old bike and do something cool with it.
Yeah, don't make it your one and only. You don't want to. You don't want to rely on your skill to get yourself around with one bike that you can't fix.
You're not wrong there, and I think that there's so many things that a person can learn. But what I forgot about it when I rode the chopper, I forgot how simple they are. You know, these big bikes that we ride, Percy, they're fucking complicated, and there's computers in them, and there's all kinds of shit that we have connected to them. And riding that chopper just reminded me of how simple they actually can be. I mean, it's a battery, and it was a starter, and it has some fuel in it, and there was nothing else. Nothing even really worked very good on it, but it was the fucking coolest ride ever.
Okay.
And I don't mean that Jared did anything wrong. It's just that old technology doesn't work like the new technology. It's not what we're used to.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Everything worked. The brakes work. The clutch works. The bike shifts. It runs perfectly. It starts every time. I mean, all of those things are true. It's just, it's not what it's a 47-year-old motorcycle. So everything is 47 years old. And so that was the difference in riding that bike. And it was still so fucking cool.
That's cool. Dustin, what about you?
I'm kind of like Ryan. I love my motorcycle. It's set up the way I want, maybe minus a cam, but still I'm happy with the way it runs, rides, and looks for now. I'm not really ready to go up to a bagger yet, but I'm going to be a one bike guy, I think. I don't think I'm going to have a garage full. It doesn't financially align with my budget and probably won't ever. But being able to concentrate on one bike is, I think, the way I'm going to go. But if I were to get rid of, let's say, the Sport Glide and upgrade and finally go big, I'd probably, honestly, from everything I've test ridden the last few months, I would honestly go with some sort of Street Glide.
Really? The Street Glide?
Mm-hmm. As far as how it fits me personally, it's more practical for me to own that than, let's say, a Road Glide.
Why would you say that?
Sitting on them, riding them. There's more of a comfort factor. Having those bars closer, the windshield, everything. For me on those short rides, just made more sense. The Road Glide to me just feels heavier, clunkier, harder to move around at slow speeds or at stops or to park or whatever. So that's why I probably go with the Street Glide.
Interesting. You think, 5 years from now?
I'm probably not thinking until I hit 50.
So 2 years from now.
So I got I've got a minute. I've got a minute before that. No, I just turned 41.
Young pup.
I do see myself, obviously, if I were to look ahead 20 years and I was 67 years old, I could see myself riding a trike. But I think that I would downsize to a smaller bagger like a Sport Glide or the Lowrider Special. Downgrade to a smaller bagger, something that was lighter, before I would move to a trike. Something that I could still do what I do now, but the bike wasn't nearly as heavy. But I don't know. I haven't moved into that old man strength category quite yet. So.
Old man strength category.
Right.
Yeah, it was funny. I was down in Texas until today, and my uncle, who's in his early 70s, he and I went to the Harley dealership, and he sat he wants a motorcycle so bad. He's just jonesing for a bike. He sat on a Fat Boy, and the guy cranked that up, and I've not seen a smile on my uncle's face like that in many, many years. But we were kind of talking about the size of the bike and stuff, and
you guys are talking about size.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, he loved the way the Fat Boy looked, but like I told him, that's too much for you.
Sure.
At your, I'm not saying he's an old man, but at your age, never riding, you haven't ridden, haven't owned a bike. I think he rode when he was young because his mom and dad used to ride, but So we were looking over at what was the one that Tony traded in last year? Street Bob, yeah. Street Bob is what we were kind of looking at. But I was telling him, I think my next bike, unless they're not making it anymore, is probably going to be the RG3.
Yeah.
And I can see that not too far down the road, maybe 5 years. I don't know. 7 years when I get closer to 70. But at the same time, I don't know that I would just stick with that. I mean, that's the RG3 for me is a great bike to do the touring and everything I want to, but want just something small, like around town. Don't slap me, but I've been kind of looking at that Bonneville Speedmaster lately. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen some of the Bonnevilles. We looked at them. I think last season we talked about some of when they put out some of these newer bikes, Triumph, and there was a few. Dustin and I liked. I think it was the Kawasaki W900.
It's the W800. I'm glad you brought that up because Dave's talking about trotting around town. That would be a great option for me.
Yeah,
like I need to go somewhere. Hell, I don't even know where I can go find one, but that would be an interesting test ride.
Yeah,
I love that. It's like a throwback bike, but modernized, and I love the look of it.
Yeah, I do too. That was when we reviewed some of those bikes back then. That was by far both of us liked that bike the most, and for me it was overwhelming. I loved that bike, and I owned a Kawasaki. Those things are bulletproof, man. I had one for 5 or 6 years. I changed oil twice. I mean, that thing was absolutely bulletproof. And I'll admit, I was absolutely not caring for that bike. I mean, I kept it clean and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't change the fluids. I didn't whatever. And that thing ran like a top. It was perfect in terms of how it ran. But I also didn't have a ton of miles on it. I probably had 10,000 miles on it when I sold it.
Right.
So, I was only riding about 1,000 miles a year at that time with that bike. I was really mainly using it to commute back and forth to work. You guys are going to laugh at me, and I hope you do. But I truly one of my goals in the next couple of years is to actually start to institute some yoga into some daily routines, because I find myself already feeling that. Do you guys? I don't know. Maybe you guys get this. Do you get the new? Oh, you guys don't. Because you're not laid off your bikes for as long as I am. When I ride at the beginning of the season, I do get that hip cramping, that uncomfortable feeling. And because I'm not in riding shape, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so my body has to get used to all of those new things. And I get off my bike and my hips hurt, my back hurts, and my shoulders hurt. And until I get myself back into riding shape. So truly, I plan on trying to do some yoga to get myself more flexible, so that as I get older, that I'm not putting myself into a position of physically not being able to ride sooner than I want to be in that place. So.
Yeah, well, let me just warn you: start slow. Starts because I started doing yoga during COVID.
Oh, sure.
And I've always thought, it's easy peasy. It's just stretching's all it is.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go straight beginner. Like,
yeah,
you need to do that DDP yoga.
But yeah. So speaking of our second bikes, I think my bike, the bike that I chose is a great lead in for us to talk about this last weekend. We should give all the listeners a little bit of insight into what we experienced at the bike reveal last weekend.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was a great time. It went, I think, even better than I thought, because I didn't know what to expect. But Bluegrass did a great job giving us a space, promoting the event. We had quite a crowd around us when that sheet came off that iron head, and I thought everybody did a good job.
Yeah, Tony was saying that there was that Bluegrass had over 500 individual people there at that event. So there was at least that many people that put their eyes on the bike. every time we get together and do anything like this, when all 5 of us are there, it just reminds me how I wish that we were all closer together rather than so far apart. It's always just so much fun being in the same place and doing what we do together. So that part was great. I was able to bring my wife. I was super excited about that. Everybody got to meet that she's not actually an aberration. She's a real person.
I was super excited that you got to bring her.
Yeah. So that I was really excited that she got to meet everybody, and we have some really great, I would say, friends. I might maybe 2 years ago would call them friends of the podcast, but I call them friends now. Of people that have come to the last few things, and every time we do something, they kind of show up and support us, and that always feels good. They're such good people.
Yeah, I mean, I lost count of the number of people that showed up, right, from the Discord and the people we know. But I do know, I don't think anybody rode as much as Lee did.
Well, Lee, he was at Forgotten Angels and then turned around and rode down to us. So I think
no. He was at Forgotten Angels, rode all the way back up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Then turned around and came from Lancaster, Pennsylvania down to Louisville.
Yeah, he was home for 3 days.
In a thunderstorm.
Turned and came back.
Yeah.
Rode through a thunderstorm.
I was there when he pulled in at the hotel.
Yeah.
And it was no bueno.
It was pouring when we arrived around 4:00 on Friday.
And Lee rides an older Ultra with, I think, an 80-inch Evo. So that dude is badass.
I don't remember what year his bike is.
Yeah, it's close to Bob's bike year. And so I'm not sure. It's in the 90s, 97, 98, 96. It's one of those
beautiful
years.
Bike, but he puts miles on that. And someone that usually does that, Nomad Matt from up here my way, pussied out and drove his truck. Not to call you out, Matt, but
That's a call out. You might as well stand on top of the Eiffel Tower and megaphone that shit, because that is a call out.
But hey, let's give Matt the credit that he's due. Matt, he shows up, man, and he's
every time
always there, helps out, does whatever.
Yep.
Whatever. I mean, and that's a great thing, right? If we need people to help out, they're always right there. Like, tell me what I can do. Point me in a direction I can help. You know what I mean? Not just friends, but that people that are just great people to come out and support us and help out however they can. And so it was a great event.
Well, and along those lines, let's give Matt a proper shout out. Matt, our friend, our patron, came all the way down from Maryland. And when Jared popped open the trailer, who was the one that pulled the bike out of the trailer? Matt.
That'd be Matt.
Jumped right in there.
And just in case anyone else wants to know, Matt bought ticket 1 of 1. He was the very first person when those tickets went on sale to buy a ticket for that bike. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of fitting, I guess, since he bought ticket 1 of 1 that he moved that bike out of that trailer. So that's kind of I think that was a cool experience for everybody involved. And Bob and Nick that came down with me, those guys jumped right into the Harley dealership and helped serve food. My wife served food. And Jared, Brittany's Jared, he was cooking on the grill and running food in and out. And so we had a lot of people from our group that helped out the Harley people, run that event. And afterwards we all went over to Tony's. And then what did we do?
Well, first off, make sure you give Bob and Nick were slinging wieners.
Oh yeah.
They were rolling and handing wieners.
They were heavy handed in the meat.
Yes, they were.
Wieners were chosen in honor of the bike. Just so everybody knows.
If you need anybody to sling a wiener, call Bob or Nick.
That's right. Yeah.
They'll take
those
care
guys,
of you.
Those guys know how to handle their meat. So.
Yeah.
Out of way, Bobby!
They'll handle your meat for you too.
Yeah. Don't stand too close. I'll handle your meat too. So afterwards we brought the bike to its resting place, the storage resting place at Tony's. But before that, we had it in the garage, and Jared was saying, he said, one of my favorite things about building choppers is watching other people ride them. And I just said to Tony, I said, well, give me that fucking key. And Tony's shaking his head, and Jared's like, you got to go ride it. Go ride it. Jared. So Jared's like egging me on, and Tony's shaking his head like, no, you're not. And I'm like, give me that fucking key. And so put the key in there and started the bike out, and Duck walked it out of the garage and fucking rode the thing away. And my dumbass didn't turn the fuel on.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I got about, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 yards down the road, and I just stalled, rolled to a stop on that. I was like, what the fuck? Tried to start it, wouldn't start. All of a sudden, Brittany's Jared pulls up behind me. He goes, hey, I got a simple solution for you. And I said, what's that? He goes, look down between your legs and tell me if the fuel's on. And the fuel nozzle is right down. And I was like, fuck. And I flipped the fuel nozzle.
Did you tell him the fuel's always on between my legs?
Yeah. I should have.
Spraying everywhere.
Yeah. So started it, turned the fuel on, fucking thing started right back up and drove it back down to Tony's place. So yeah, it was exhilarating that. And I think there's a lot of emotions attached to that besides the 2 years of everything that we went through to build the bike. First time riding a chopper, certainly the first time riding a custom chopper. It was 30 seconds that I'll never forget. And I probably only have 2 or 3 moments in my life like that. So
30 seconds. That's a long time for you to get that much enjoyment, isn't it?
You got time to cuddle afterwards.
Yeah, I was 16. It happened fast.
Did you smoke a cigarette when you got off? Or
not then.
You smoked a blunt.
Yeah, I smoked a blunt.
So I didn't get to go with you guys that evening, but I did get to ride it Sunday morning when we went and did the photo shoot and drone footage for the motorcycle. I didn't know if I wanted to ride it at first, but then I was like, you know what? How many chances am I going to get to ride a almost 50-year-old motorcycle?
Yeah, 47, yeah.
Besides, somebody else is going to own this come September. So I was like, fuck it, I got to. Mm-hmm. And probably pissed off a few of Tony's neighbors that morning, but you know what?
Just a couple. Just
like the dude says, fuck it, man.
Yeah, fuck it.
But, and we got video evidence of that.
Yeah.
That ride.
Well, and kind of as a thank you for helping out and everything, Bob from my crew, so Deep V's Bob on the Discord, he rode the bike and he was not going to do it. He was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I go, Bob, I'm like, this is it. You're never going to have this opportunity again. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, ride the bike. He's like, I'm not doing it. I go, ride the bike, Bob.
Did you point a gun at him? Ride the bike, Bob.
Yeah. And then and so he was like, okay, fine. So he took off and rode it. And then Nick rode it and Brittany's Jared rode it. So
Brittany didn't ride it?
Brittany did not. I think it was audience. There was a lot of us around there. I think she was scared to ride it at that moment. And I can see why. I mean, fuck. The last thing any of us wanted to do was dump that bike.
Well, that's why I had hesitations about riding a bike that old. But
yeah,
I trusted the process of what went through to build that bike, and I knew everybody did a good job as far as our sponsors, contributors, builders.
Yep.
And I knew it was going to run like a top.
Tony said that
sounds great.
He succumbed to peer pressure from you guys, and he rode it.
He did, yeah. He wasn't.
He could flat foot it.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. I actually got on the bike from the back. I just walked over it and sat down.
So there was a.
I will say I did not ride it because one of us had to be the adult in the group. So I sat on it and let Dustin take a picture while the wind was blowing. But I was not going to risk being the one guy that got a rock.
Well, sorry, I broke my chariot, so I had to do it.
So we had the morning of the reveal. No, actually, it was Friday evening when we all went and saw the bike, got it into bluegrass, and kind of got set up for Saturday morning. I posted a picture just of part of the tank that had Milkbone signature on it and everything, and in the background, all bokeh out, was Tony. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody left a comment. I think they deleted it shortly after, but I did get to read it. You know what it was?
What did it say?
It says, "What is the leg to torso ratio on that guy?"
Oh no, that's just sad. That's sad. No, because it looked like he was just kind of like jonesing over the bike.
I think that my
In a
wife
weird
might have commented on it too. I think she said something like Tiny Tony or something like that.
No.
I don't know. Maybe he just had a long shirt on. I don't know.
It was a little bit of depth perception and a little bit of Tiny Tony.
I'm going to speak up for Tony tonight. Fuck you, and fuck that guy.
Clip your internet again.
Yeah, but I have to say that big shout out to everybody involved, but to be able to do this and be involved in this project with some of my closest friends, it's something I'll never forget. I think that was
dude,
part
you got
of
the fucking tattoo.
That's right. I did.
How can you forget it now? You'll never forget it. It's on your body forever.
He's got a tattoo on his ass too because he drove 1,100 miles
one way
in one go.
Yep. And then
in a car full of weird people like Bob and Nick.
Yep. And my wife.
Well, your wife's not weird, but
we were there. Then we were there for the event for about 12 hours in Louisville and turned around and did it again on Sunday. So, yeah. And actually, what's crazy is that it took us 17 and a half hours to get down to Louisville, but only took us 14 and a half to get home. The traffic and everything was just straight fucked. So we actually figured it out that it would have been smarter for us to do a red eye and leave it like 9 o'clock at night and drive all night long, because we would have missed all the traffic in the places that we hit because we did it during the day. So yeah, I there's a possibility that my crew could be doing a red eye down to Louisville when we go next time. I don't know. We're kicking it around.
It's better than doing the pink eye.
Yeah. Well, Dustin doesn't know this yet, but we picked our date of when we're going to go down to see him on the River Road, and we are going to do it in one day. So Nick and Bob and I for sure, but we're going to ride down. I think it's 882 or something like that. It's close to 900, but we're going to ride down in one day.
When are you going to do that?
What's that?
When are you going to do that?
The second week, the weekend of the 15th of July, we're going to come down, and I think that's what we decided. We are going to travel on Friday and on Monday, and we're going to be there Saturday and Sunday to hang out with Dustin and ride the River Road. And so that's going to be July 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. We are going to be down there hanging out with Dustin, and we don't know. We might actually camp at Pierre Marquette. We don't know yet. We haven't figured out our arrangements yet, but we might tent camp the weekend too. So
go say hello to those old crazy A-frames for us.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna.
So if you want to camp somewhere closer to me, camp out at Lake Yeager in Litchfield.
Okay. Well,
it's nice out there.
I'll have Bob look it up. But yeah, we're for sure gonna ride down in one day. And hang out there 2 days with Dustin, and then ride back in one day. So
yeah, we'll do some cool shit.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
It's during the 120th that week. That's when I'll be up in Walter, and I'll be up in Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we were trying to figure out a time that would work. The following weekend is my birthday. The following weekend after that is Sturgis. So the weekend before that is 4th of July. It just was the perfect weekend to kind of drop down there and do it. So
speaking of Sturgis, can we drop, I guess we should drop a message that we're going to be in Sturgis. The first few days of the rally at the Iron Horse Inn.
Yes.
In Whitewood, South Dakota.
Yep.
I'm super stoked about that trip.
Yep. We have, staying at where are we staying again, Dave?
Iron Horse Inn.
Iron Horse Inn. So for those of you that don't know, go online, look up the Can't even say it. I keep
Iron
saying
Horse
Iron Force.
Inn.
Iron Horse Inn. It's a mouthful.
The horse is strong with you.
The horse is strong.
No, the Rocky Mountain oysters are a mouthful.
So they say.
I try
So they
those.
say.
Give me some ranch dressing.
Right? So we're staying at the Iron Horse Inn. It's a perfect motel spot that is designed for motorcyclists. So you can pull your bike up right up to your room outside here. You can peek out the window, look at your motorcycle.
Aw.
You know, it's going to be right there. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think that my crew might make a trip up there in June. I just shouldn't say might. I think we are going to make a weekend up there in June to check it out and introduce ourselves to Andy and Greg. Andy runs a show up there, so I'm super excited to get to meet them in person, and we're going to check everything out for what we're going to do when we go down there in August. So
Yeah, and we're going to talk to Frank about the iBar.
yes,
Yep.
yep.
Go Frank
So
up there. So
we're
looking
gonna-
forward to that.
we're going to be there doing our podcast every night, and during the day we will be perusing the area, and so we have something to report on at night, so you guys will know what we think of and give you our impressions of the actual event, which is going to be really cool because one of the things that they have at the Iron Horse is they have a shuttle that runs to downtown Sturgis. So we'll be able to leave our bikes, take the shuttle, go to downtown Sturgis, do what we want to do. You know, Dave can walk around with turkey legs in each hand, and we can do our things down there, and then come back and hang out. And they have a bar right on site at the Iron Horse also. So so it's going to be good. It's going to be a really good time.
You know, this isn't the Renaissance Fair, right? You know that's not
Hey,
where we're going,
dude,
right?
I know that, but I have been told that Sturgis is famous for their turkey legs.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told.
I don't like dark meat, so won't be me.
I'm
I'm a
fine.
breast man.
I'm fine with any color meat. I'm just going to say it.
Nope. Don't
Yeah.
like the legs.
I'm an ass man myself. Just saying.
That's pretty dark. That's dark meat, isn't it?
Depends. Never mind.
All right, let's move on to a different topic.
Oh,
So
if
anyway-
if we could go back to the bike real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Some other people we need to give a shout out to is all the people that bought tickets, because we had a big surge in tickets the last
Yeah, we
couple
did.
of days, especially after the reveal. I mean, we did really good without people seeing a bike, and then
Yeah.
since the bike has been sold, we've doubled,
Yep.
what we sold in a week and a half. So thanks to everybody who bought tickets. I know some of you bought a lot of tickets. I think one guy bought 25
I saw that the other
yesterday.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
And
Yeah.
Jackie Mann, David Mann's wife, got wind of the bike and what we're doing, and she actually shared it on the social streams online. So it's already getting some good eyes on it.
Yeah. So it looks like we even sold some more since this morning. So
Yeah, and we still have 160-ish days before we give the bike away on the 16th of September
166 days. Yep.
at the 5 Dirty Biker meetup in Louisville, Kentucky.
So
I
if you
keep
haven't
getting
yet,
messages from people asking me when we're giving the bike away. I know it's right there on the flyer and everything, but it's 16 September.
yes.
Correct.
So and also, if you haven't bought tickets yet, 5dirtybikers.com. We got links all over the website where you can go to our raffle page and buy a ticket. $25 could get you probably one of the most beautiful bikes I've ever seen.